Yes.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah. Nice to meet you again. Yeah.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Institute Innovation Cell as well as IEEE student branch of IIIT Kottayam is now organizing a webinar session on entrepreneurship. So today our speaker is Mr. Joy Sebastian. The name will be known to everyone. He is the CEO and a co-founder of Techgentia Solutions. He hails from Kerala's Alappuzha district, a place that is best known for houseboat cruises along the rustic backwaters and lagoons. He is not new to this entrepreneurship. He has 2 decades of experience in the field of technology, a countryside man who has been active in, very active in, I would say, in palliative care and library cultural events. His new claim to fame is as the owner of the company that made the vConsole software, which was named the best video conferencing software in the National Innovation Challenge of the Union Electronics and IT Ministry, Government of India. So with lots of love and respect on behalf of all the participants who are attending this session, I would like to welcome Mr. Joy Sebastian, sir, to this webinar session. Yeah, sir. Welcome, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Rakesh, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
This is a nice evening. It's always raining from today morning. So it is nice to talk to you all. As I'm talking to software people, that is what I understand, because it is Indian Institute of Information Technology. So most of you have a background of software. So I think more than entrepreneurship and all, I think you would be interested to see what we are doing here and what kind of research we are doing for the last 11 years in the video conferencing domain. So let me tell my story first, then we will have an interactive session. I think you may have some questions about the product and all. So I would like to hear your questions and queries on what we are doing. That is the best thing, because my story doesn't matter, because this is nothing a story of a village student who was doing his in 80s schools in 80s, and now I did my primary school near my village itself. It is a primary school. I was doing it in Malayalam medium. You know, that is most of the 90% of Keralites do their schooling in Malayalam in the 80s. So I hail from a fisherman family. That is one of the important thing I want to tell you. My parents are maybe illiterate, I would say. They studied reading and writing through, you heard about one of the prestigious program Kerala done a decade ago, the Kerala Literacy Program, where our parents studied, most of our parents studied reading and writing in Malayalam. So I am coming from such a family, and I myself and my brother was the first high school goers in our entire family itself. So, so that is the childhood, and I was an average student. Maybe in a school like ours, it does have maybe 80%, 85% of marks when we gone out of the school. That is what I had. Nowadays, I know you all people cleared a huge entrance exam and come to this institute. So I knew your capabilities, and what I did was the pre-degree. Nowadays, it is called +2, what you call it higher secondary education. I was into biomaths. Earlier, there was no biomaths actually. When we take biology science, we can add a 4th option as mathematics. So I studied both mathematics and biology in the college. then I moved to science, which was one of the favorite subject for me in the school days. So I took a bachelor degree in science from Kerala University, one of the college near my house in Cherthala. And then I moved to, it was in 1996, I passed out of the college with a bachelor degree in chemistry. Then I realized that there is entrance exam. Then only I realized, because I don't know what kind of a career path I should opt. So when I was in college, I found some of the students who were studying with me going to medicine after taking an exam. So I realized there is some way to go out and take medicine. So I tried actually entrance exam for medicine, and my rank was a bit low, so I got only homeo medicine at that trial. So I joined a college in Ernakulam, which is a government homeo college. And when I was traveling from Alleppey to Ernakulam, I always prefer train. And while I was traveling one day, some of my friends who studied with me in the bachelor degree, they were also with me in the train, and they were going to have some kind of a entrance coaching. Then they were going to Kochi for entrance coaching, Ernakulam for entrance coaching. And I asked them, what kind of entrance you are going to try after this bachelor degree? So they told me they are trying for the post-graduation computer application entrance exam, which was conducted by Kerala government. And I asked whether it is possible for me to have a try in that also. So they actually bought a application form for me in 1996, and they given it to me, and I tried that because I was a bit tired with the homeo. When I went there in the homeo college, I found it is all biology and biochemistry and all. So I was a bit tired. So I was thinking of leaving that course. Then I found these guys going for some other course, which is possible after science bachelor degree. So I also appeared along with them in the entrance. That entrance had some kind of a general knowledge along with some IT questions. Most of them are from kind of general knowledge in information technology. I had a bit of general knowledge, so I cleared it, and I got admitted to the post-graduation for computer applications. I don't know whether you actually believe it or not. When I joined the TKM College of Engineering, which is in Kollam, for the Master of Computer Applications, it was the first time I am touching a keyboard, and I am seeing a computer actually in 1996. So till 1999, I was with that TKM College of Engineering, and I passed out with a decent score. And when I was coming out, my family, I told you about my family. My father, mother, and my brother was there. During my post-graduation, my brother was a mechanical engineer by profession. He got a job. But that is the only way I can go to hostel and found some kind of a support from my family to continue my post-graduation. But unfortunately, in the second semester, when I was doing my post-graduation, he met with a bike accident, and he fell down, and he passed away. That was one of the tragedy I met during my college days, and I thought it will be end of my studies, and I couldn't continue because of my family. They couldn't support because they are hardly fighting for their living, bread and butter. So I thought I couldn't continue. But my friends, my relatives, my colleagues, everyone together told me, you don't leave the college. It is a rare chance, because at that point of time, only 90 students in Kerala will get admitted to Master of Computer Applications. Only 90, less than 100. So they told me, you don't leave it because it's a golden opportunity. You need to suffer and try hard for the next 4 semesters and continue. You will get a job and you can you can go and support your family. So they supported me a lot, and that is why I completed my post-graduation and came out of college with a decent score. And I found how programming is and all the things. And I tried myself some kind of a programming, at that point of time, Visual Basic and all are coming in. So I tried to develop some softwares of my own, and I tried to sell it myself to the shops and all for billing and all. That was my first try with entrepreneurship during 1999. But in 2000, I got a job actually. That may be the turning point in my life. It was a company called Avenir. You may not be heard about it because that company is no more. It was in 2000. If you can go to the history and look at the timeline of the technology, in 2000 there is no company in India that is doing something like what Avenir was doing. I will tell you. Because there were Infosys, there were TCS, and Bangalore is booming with IT services company at that point of time, and they were doing a lot. And the projects are coming in, the on-site projects are offshore projects are coming in abundantly into the country then. But at that point of time, a company which was doing product development was rare in India. Everyone was doing software kind of outsourcing project, and it's a kind of service oriented industry. It was IT then, but they were doing products, and those products in 2000 they were trying to develop Bluetooth stack in Java. That Bluetooth stack in Java, when I tell you Bluetooth stack in Java nowadays, you may find it weird because Bluetooth is so common now. In 2000, it was not the fact. Bluetooth was only on theoretical purpose, and companies were developing their primitive chips then. I remember the Qualcomm's large chips coming into our office to test our Bluetooth stack then. And they were all, you are using a lot of things in Bluetooth right now, audio profile and all. We were the first company which was trying an audio profile using a Bluetooth stack in the world. In 2000. And I was not with the project then. That particular product was developed by some other team. But I was with a product which was trying a audio conferencing over internet using voice over IP. In 2000, that story, because then in Kerala, there were only land phone connections, and we were trying to connect to internet using dial-up. And at that point of time, we were trying to develop a audio conferencing system that works out, especially a multi-party audio conferencing system, not a one-to-one audio conferencing. It's a multi-party audio conferencing system we were trying to develop. And along with that, we were trying to develop a desktop sharing system, what you are familiar with now. Zoom have a screen sharing, and those kind of things we were trying to develop in 2000. And that opportunity, that made me change. And till 2005, I was with that company. I was then a product manager. While I continued 5 years in that company. When I am leaving the company, it was about to close. The company was about to close due to financial struggle, because their products were untimely. I mean, you remember, the products were untimely, and if they were continuing the research for 1 or 2 years, I would say that will be one of the company we are counting now. But unfortunately, their financial struggles they couldn't continue the research. The company got closed, and I also left the company. And but I was a family guy. I couldn't go out and find a job. It was not my fault. I am sticking on to my city. I was not going outside, so I thought I should try something myself. But in 2007, I was doing something with my friend, one of my friend who was with me in the Avenir. And in 2007, we started this guy, the old Avenirs. There was a counterpart for Avenir in US. It was called Athena Inc. And that company is the owner of Avenir actually in India. And those companies or owners just contacted me to continue the audio conferencing development. If you can do it yourself, we will support you. You can continue the product what we stopped when Avenir was stopping. So we were then in 2007, by 2007, it is not an audio conferencing system. It started to become a video conferencing system then. So I started my own company in till 2009. I didn't try to do a company, a private limited company or so. I did all the works in a personal capacity. I was doing it from home, and by 2009, I need some support from other guys. So I hired somebody. So I'm forced to make a company because it is not easy to manage the others without a proper organization. So I thought I should start a company. That way, I'm a accidental entrepreneur actually. I didn't try to make a company. It was not my aim, but accidentally I became a company director. And that is how the history of Techgentia. And in 2009, we started Techgentia to cater the requirements of our old employer as a video conferencing provider in US. And we started as a technology R&D company for them, actually. We were doing a lot of research till then. And Techgentia, what it means, that also is important. Techgentia is a word coined by two different words. One is, heard about intelligentsia. One word means a group of elite people doing some intelligent activities for the good of the society. That is what intelligentsia means. And we actually took out that intelligentsia, intelligent, and added tech in front of that. That is how this name came. Technology plus intelligentsia, that is called Techgentia. That is how the name came. And till 2013, the other company, our old employer Athena, need this software, but they were always struggling. They need to support us, but they really want to support us, but they were struggling with money. I couldn't continue that kind of a we couldn't struggle, and only one client for the research, that is not possible. So I thought we should find other clients also. So we started searching for others who actually want video conferencing as a service in their country or in their enterprise or something like that. That is how we started searching. But I'm not a salesperson, and I couldn't sell anything. So we were struggling a lot. But what happened was, our research and footprints on internet helped a lot. It was not through advertisement or some kind of a publicity activity. It was through the open source communities, open source forums, where we did our footprints while we were researching things. Our team was putting some open source updates, open source bug fixes, and those guys who are into this domain understood that some company in Kerala is doing video conferencing, and they have some technology edge, in this domain, and that is how we got started getting some clients from 2013. That is when this Zoom also was. I think Zoom also came in 2011-12, and that is then world is started thinking about actual virtual working and virtual workforces and all. So we also started getting some of the inquiries, and one of the major inquiry was from Nordic, that is Norway, Denmark. So they actually were using some other companies' technology platform then, and they understood we were also competent like that Norwegian company they were using. And that company, if you look at the internet, their name is Pexip, and that is how Google is supporting their video conferencing. Some kind of Google is getting technology help from Pexip in their video conferencing. So that is one of the company which was supporting this Nordic company for their video conferencing, and their technology was a bit costlier. So they found out ourselves, Techgentia, as a competition for them, and they actually given order to do their video conferencing using Techgentia's technology. Now Techgentia owns a share in that company also, that Nordic company. They were now also they are also using our technology now. So I will tell you what is the you also were thinking. From 2000, a guy was doing video conferencing, and video conferencing was being used in 2020 after the COVID in India, actually. Otherwise, we were not that familiar with video conferencing, but I will tell you the fact. This kind of video conferencing, what we seen today, was not there before. Actually, WebEx was a contender in this Cisco WebEx. Earlier, it was not Cisco WebEx, it was WebEx only. That is another company which was doing some research in this domain of web and mobile, this browser-based video conferencing and PC-based video conferencing. So, but there was another video conferencing component that is being used by the high-end customers, like Prime Minister talking to Chief Ministers. That is not using this kind of technology. It is another technology. It was there from 2000 itself. Government of India, when I talk to them right now, they were talking about, they were in this video conference, they were providing ministers video conferencing, prime ministers video conferencing from 2000 itself. So that is another technology which is ruled by some kind of a binary protocol. As you all are IT people, I am just talking the IT terms. Binary protocol, which is called H.323, and one another protocol which formed after this binary moved to text-based protocol, which is called SIP, Session Initiation Protocol. There were two protocols earlier before this kind of video conferencing happened and used. The people used this kind of video conferencing, and those kind of video conferencing, I mean the binary based H.323 based video conferencing was ruled by hardware. There will be a hardware device placed in a room, boardroom, and that hardware device is a kind of standalone dial-up kind of a device. You can dial into a meeting, and that has its on. You may have seen it already in some of your classrooms or boardrooms, and that kind of devices are being used, and it's mixing. I mean, the video conferencing, what you see is now is 10 to 15 people when participating in a meeting. That dumb standalone device need to get a single video stream back. They cannot hold multiple video streams at any point of time. So you need to get single video stream from somewhere. So what everyone were doing was, they will mix the video streams coming from the participants on a server and stitch it together and send it back to the endpoints. the standalone endpoints. So that was the technology earlier was there, and its mixing server was called MCU. That is called the Media Control Unit. And that MCU is a hardware device specially designed with the graphics chips, because they need to mix HD videos in real time along with audio. So, I mean, that kind of hardware devices were being used earlier for this video conferencing. And nowadays also these devices are in place because billions of dollars already invested everywhere for this kind of devices and its servers. So Government of India, if you believe it or not, Government of India has, I think, 1,000+ devices like that. And you remember, if you look at the price of single device, it will cost you around $10,000. That's around 8 lakh rupees plus a standalone video conferencing endpoint. So that kind of investment already went into. So what we were trying to do before this video conferencing on web and PC came in, what we were trying to develop and innovate was we need to replace this kind of hardware, complete hardware endpoints, hardware mixing units with a pure software system. That was our innovation and research happening in 2013 itself. And this mixing unit, earlier I told you, it was with pre-designed graphics chips, and its cost is very high. So maybe 100 participant meeting unit may cost you 1 crore rupees around now also. So what we were trying to do was we were trying to replace that hardware with a software which can run on a genuine Linux machine, simple Linux machine. So that was our research. We succeeded in 2013 on this particular area. That is how we got noticed by some of the video conferencing service providers who were spending a lot of money onto hardware to give their service to people. So that particular area we were succeeding from 2013, and we got a lot of inquiries, we got a lot of research funding for that particular project who want this kind of MCUs, the media control units, software based media control units, which can run on Linux machines. So we succeeded, and but it was not a great success then. We may be able to support a, say for example, a 16-core server. 16-core server, that kind of a server can support up to 30 to 35 HD videos. That means 30 to 35 video endpoints we could support in a meeting then in 2013-14. So that is how we changed, but we didn't find a way to sell it in India. From 2013, even though we are getting a lot of inquiries, we are got a lot of sales in other areas, but other parts of the world, we couldn't find how to sell it in India. Till 2020, I tried a lot because government always placed tenders to purchase these devices and all. I will try to convince the authorities that we can replace this with software, but no one believed it. We can replace it. I will show you. I will tell you this is possible. This is possible with the software. But the authorities and technocrats who were ruling this video conferencing domains, they didn't believe us by then. But by 2019 and 20, what happened was pandemic started and everyone started moving to video conferencing. Of course, governments and all have a very insecure feeling using this cloud-based video conferencing because you remember the early days of Zoom in 2020. There were a lot of problems that is happening in Zoom by Zoom bombing and all. You heard about Zoom bombing. Zoom bombing is a kind of people who are not intended appearing in video conferencing and showing up some nasty activities. So people are worried about video conferencing. It is not secure. They were thinking it is not secure at all. Also, governments are governments got an insecure feeling, and they were thinking about some kind of video leaks will happen in future, like the WikiLeaks. One video conference is happening between secretaries and ministers, and they were deciding a very crucial point in India. Maybe that may affect the other parts of the world also. But at a later point of time, maybe 10 years later, in timeline, that video is coming out and telling that in 2020, Indian government decided like this in this meeting, and video is leaking out. That is going to be a disaster for governments. So they were thinking about something that is isolated. I mean, on-premises kind of solutions that government can hold. And that is how Government of India announced a challenge for Indian software companies to develop video conferencing. What happened was, if you look at, I will tell you, one of the colleges actually, when the challenge was announced, I also seen it because some of my friends sent it to me. There is a challenge happening. Your domain is the challenge area, so you should appear for that. I was a bit hesitant because of my experience with the government. People are not good. So I thought, why should I waste time? Somebody will get it 1 crore rupees. That is going to happen. So I was a bit hesitant. But one college, I think one college from somewhere, where one of my friend was teaching, he sent some of the kids, some of the students studying there, they were trying to participate in the event. So they need my advice how to go ahead. I told them there were open source technologies. You can try it out, but it may not be a scalable solution because video conferencing is not easy with an open source. And there are Jitsi, some kind of, a lot of Blue Button, a lot of open source things are there. So it is possible you try it out, but if you are really looking for a solution in video conferencing, then you have to, the timeline is not that fine for that video conference. It was 5 months timeline, so it is not possible at all. Even if there are 1,000 people working on it, there, that's not possible because it is a huge technology domain. So I got some information from somewhere that this challenge is going to be big, but my friends actually pushing me hard. You should appear, even though they are not considering you. Just send an application. So I sent a proposal, a large one, because I thought if I spend some time on the proposal, it will help me a lot, because it can be sent out to, because a lot of inquiries are coming in from all over the world to get our technology. So I thought I should send a proposal, detailed proposal. I prepared it and sent it out. So it was, there was a timeline. First, it was a 4-phased evaluation process. First phase is proposal, and they will select. It was published that there will be 10 candidates will be selected from the proposal stage to make a prototype, and then 3 candidates will be selected from the prototype stage to the product stage. That was the plan, and there was a timeline. This is a submission date, this is the prototype date, this is the final product date and all. I looked at the timeline, and I didn't get a intimation on the date they plan to announce the first participants. But after say 1 week, I got an email saying that your proposal is good, and because actually I covered all the video conferencing spectrum, whatever there in the available domain. So they were saying your proposal is good, you need to present your proposal before a jury on this date. And there were 30 companies shortlisted. Before that, I would say, after sending the proposal, I just left it out. Whatever happens, it is okay. But I heard around 2000 companies are participating in this challenge, and all the companies took it as a serious opportunity to make a video conferencing for India. So 2000 companies, and I read something like Zoho Corporation, HCL Technologies, Tech Mahindra, all are participating. So I thought leave it, because TechGensia is nowhere. We are a 50, 60 member company, and my neighbors also didn't knew my company name. So in InfoPark, so I thought it's not at all worthy spending time on it. So just left it. But fortunately, I got a chance to present my proposal, because they actually seriously read through the proposal. That is what I found. And after the presentation, the jury members were asking very decent, serious questions about the technology. This is the first time I am hearing something from bureaucrats or technocrats in India who is seriously approaching video conference. That was the jury members. So I felt very happy, because I knew we have a chance, because they are serious. So from the 30, they selected 12 companies. Actually, they were proposed to select 10, but they selected 12 companies to the prototype stage, and we developed the prototype. It was working fine. And the second stage of the evaluation was on our prototype itself. I mean, like the Zoom meeting, what is happening right now, I need to join the meeting, and the jury members also join the meeting tool what we developed. The evaluation happened on our prototype itself. So everyone joined without any glitch, because video conferencing, the problem the 90% of the problem happens with the devices. So everyone, and the problems project in the start itself, because someone says I am not hearing, someone says I am not seeing. So everyone joined, every jury members joined without any glitch. That gave me a lot of confidence, and they are also happy, the jury members. So I knew that we are going into the product stage, and we made it to the product stage. Then we made some changes, and finally the product stage was easy, because we knew what all others have in the product stage. So everyone is coming with some open source technology stitched. But this MCU, what we developed, the media control unit for the central video conferencing system, that is very, very much par to what other hardware devices are doing. And we were able to increase the capacity. I told you in 2013, we were able to support 30 member conferences. Now our video conferencing MCU will support 300 participants in a meeting. So we were able to make our capacity tenfold by the product stage. So we were sure that we will be winning, but I didn't mention it to anyone. At last, it came out good, and for the last 1 year, the company is getting a lot of momentum, and our product vConsole, what we call it, it is abbreviation for video conferencing solution. V for video, con is conferencing, and sol is solution. The vConsole is now rebranded as Bharat VC for government of India. Our prestigious moment was the name. They named it Bharat VC, Bharat Video Conferencing, and it does have the flags of India, the Azadi 75-year Azadi logo and everything. And one proud moment happened last while I was from last January itself. They were using. I mean, in 2021 December they launched the product, and they were started using from January, the secretary meetings and all. Now it is being used hugely, and around 2.5 lakhs conferences happening every month on that tool right now by NIC. So, and last while the Olympics was happening, before Indian team was going to Tokyo, the team members interacted with the Prime Minister using our tool. So when we see it on social media, the Prime Minister interacting with others using our tool. It was not on Zoom, it was not on Google Meet, and the Defense Secretary tweeted it. Our Defense Secretary tweeted it like, it is not on Zoom, it is not on Google Meet, or it is not on Microsoft Teams. Prime Minister is interacting to our Olympic competitors on Make in India product be concerned. So that is a proud moment there. Even though it is, we are not going to what you call $100 million company or $1,000 million company, $1 billion company. That is not a matter of fact. I am very proud and I'm satisfied with what I did so far. And even though I need to retire, I'm very much happy right now, because our product, what I worked so far, 20 years of effort, that came it is not at all money that matters, but money is also coming. The government of India awarded 3 years contract right now for us to continue the product. And yesterday I met with the Minister of IT in Kochi. He is very much supportive, and he is supporting us. He is telling us that the support will continue from the government of India to be concerned. So, and nowadays a lot of on-premises solutions are being solved by us, and a lot of prestigious organizations India are using right now, like Indian Navy, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, and now Nuclear Power Corporation of India, and the Controller and Auditor General of India, Kerala's Technological University. A lot of organizations are now using vConsole, and the product is getting very mature. We know we are competing with the likes of Zoom and Google Meet, which are maybe multi-trillion-dollar companies, but we know that our technology is far superior than Google's. Our technology is in par with Zoom, and in some areas we are better than Zoom, because we can seamlessly connect the hardware devices to our technology. Zoom or Google Meet cannot do that right now. They were using third-party integrators to do that with the support of hardware, but our technology is superior. We are trying to sell that point, and now I think I have my points concluding. You may ask questions, because I am very happy to answer your questions in software part. I'm not going to tell you my experience as an entrepreneur, because I told you I'm not a businessman at all. I'm a technology guy who is doing, till today I will code. I'm not a sales guy. I will do my C++, I will do my Java, and I will do full stack development. That's my capabilities. So we can talk.
Yeah, yes. So now the session is open for asking questions. So I request some of the participants to raise questions, your doubts, your clarifications. Yeah.
One important question came in.
Yeah, yes.
What challenges you saw in converting hardware to software? What philosophy you look at that?
Yes.
There is no philosophy. It is earlier in 2000. It is true. There may be hardware required, and for converting this kind of real-time video, audio to mix and deliver it. But nowadays the processors are very, very good. The processing speed is very high, and it is easy to do that. Why others didn't done it? Because they didn't see a very good scope in this technology. That is how I think. That is why they omitted it. And Cisco and Polycom, two of the major companies who is doing this hardware part, hardware components, they have the infrastructure access of every companies. So they would like to put this hardware into their ecosystem. So nobody was caring about it. But nowadays it is very important, and it is not a philosophy. It is the progress of the technology that helped us to change this kind of, because if you look at when I was studying, it was the processors were megahertz, in megahertz frequency. That is the time where we need specialized chips to encode, decode the video and mix it together and deliver it. But now it is in gigahertz of speed. The clock speed is in gigahertz, and you can make 16 core, 32 core machines work in parallel to support you. So there is no philosophy involved. It's a kind of technology progress that helps us. What are the skills needed to develop great solutions? First one is passion. Of course, you do have passion. All of you have passion. Then you need a continuous upgrade of your skills. That is second thing. Third thing I would say, what in India, most of the companies who need programming skill doesn't need that much of skill. That is a fact. So you need to look at the open source initiatives by the Google and others and try to do something into that, rather than just developing some HTML pages and moving in. There are core technology areas where skill is required. Try that out. Then you will see what's the difference you can make. A lot of areas you have, because I am seeing a lot of guys who is doing this in open source technology areas, and that is where maybe your job may not require. If you are going to a job in India, it may not require your skills to be utilized. That is a fact, because that kind of a complex things are not happening in India till today. So you may need to do something of your own to develop this kind of core development areas. That is a fact.
Dr. Ragesh, can I ask a question?
Yeah. Yes, sure, sir.
Ragesh, thanks for bringing Joy Sebastian to the platform, and it is getting benefited for the young generation, especially from Kerala. I think we are far behind compared to other states for investing and take risk or courage to initiate startups.
Yes.
I'm not into IT or computer science. I'm a chemical engineer with a of experience, and 10 years I'm outside India, and I worked in India. So my feedback is that it's really back to Joy Sebastian. It was a real storytelling experience, and all young engineers, even those who are studying science graduates, they should focus initially, like maybe 5 years they can work, and their target should be how I can become an entrepreneur or investor or a startup initiator, or anything like actually our education system never promotes, or our professors, they never advocate for this kind of elements. And even I studied from Malayalam medium. I was in politics, I was into many social organizations, but I come across, even I was a university counselor, and now I feel that it was all helped me to make my career, even to defend my career and survive in my career. So I'm telling that maybe there are young engineers on board with this platform. I don't know, I connected with Joy Sebastian in LinkedIn. When it's announced, we console and appreciate from Indian government. So people should follow what is happening in the industry and get connected, and always, even each individual have, they should keep a aim or, target. I should be a investor. I should provide an employment to at least minimum 2-3. Even whatever you do a hotel business, give employment, and you are getting, blessed and benefited from that experience. And I appreciate, I don't know, maybe the time is limited for even Joy Sebastian to the entire stories, maybe the struggles, maybe he's not highlighting that struggles he made, because when as he said, I studied in Christian college. Maybe from my school I was the only one, maybe 3-year time, I come to a, pre-degree with first group, getting a score of 530 marks and about to get a admission. So it was tough game, and but nowadays all are scoring 90 plus, in plus 2 and 10th grade, and they should have more insights and courage to invest their talents and time to make we complain to the governments, universities, or many people that we cannot make it because the situation is bad in Kerala. No, even the Kerala is Cochin is one of the hub to make investment along with smart city, all this IT industry happening there. You can do any kind of investment and startups, and there are many examples. So maybe Joy Sebastian to advocate kind of a platform in Cochin to make young engineers to come forward, and that platform has to advise them, help them how to survive or how to make the platforms. Investment, your experience, technology, whatever you have, within short time you reinvest to others.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy. And I appreciate. I thought I am not the right person to comment in this platform because I am not a technologist or IT specialist. But still, I advocate for digital transformation, digital twins, artificial intelligence, machine learning, even chemical engineering. We have a lot of opportunities with that. So all the very best, and continue your efforts.
Thank you.
And share your knowledge with the society.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think
Thank you
I
for your
have
feedback, yes.
some other questions here. Sir,
Yes, sir.
How did you keep your motive to go on with I think it is from Guda Shiva Sai.
Yeah.
I'm just coming to that point. How do you keep your motive? When we have problems, Kuriajan sir was telling about the struggles. Yeah, we struggled a lot. We struggled a lot through our journey. In the first 2-3 years, we were struggling a bit. But then also, the motive was, I told you, we were trying to develop something innovative, which is going to replace or cut the cost by 1/10 of what the actual cost was incurring to the companies and all who are purchasing video conferencing then. So that was the motive, because nobody else was doing it, and we were seeing it, what is happening around the globe in this domain, in the software-based MCUs. If you look at software-based MCUs, even Intel tried it. Intel Corporation tried it with some of the chips they made, some of the Intel CPUs they made, and they published the open source actually for that particular MCU. So we were looking at those things happening around the globe, and we sniffed that there is a chance. There is a chance, because this is an opportunity. Nobody else is working on it. I don't know why. I told you, they were not seeing video conferencing as an opportunity earlier. But we were seeing some of the things, because if you look at the government's contracts happening, it is in crores for video conference. It is not like the 1,000 rupees Zoom we are purchasing. The video conferencing contracts that is happening in government is in multiple crores of business. So we thought if we can find out a solution properly working with, because all the video conferencing, boardroom video conferencing, good video conferencing happening, if you look at the statistics, is 5 to 10 member conferences are the best video conferencing happening. Even though you were talking about 1,000 participants and all, it will be only a classroom. It's not a video conferencing. It's not a boardroom video conference. So we thought the boardroom video conferencing area where enterprises and governments are interested before the COVID, there is a possibility that if we can replace this with the software, that was our motive, that keep. And we were getting, from 2013, we were getting some orders from other parts of the country that gives fuel to our development. Till today, we didn't took any investment yet to continue this. The research and development happened through its own fuel. The revenue came out of our research. So till 2013, 4-5 years, we struggled. But once the research output came out, the people got interested in it. And that is how we continue. And what kind of challenges you are expecting in future regarding your business, that is a good thing. I am seeing a lot of opportunities than challenges in video conferencing. Even though you are seeing free tools from Google and Zoom, I will tell you an example, because by COVID time, high courts in India, every courtrooms using Google Meet, Zoom for their video conferencing, I mean their virtual court hearing. And when the announcement came, the video conferencing announcement from the central government came, the High Court of Kerala approached us and told us, we are struggling with Google Meet and Zoom. We couldn't continue with Google Meet and Zoom. If we can make a virtual court, it is not a video conference. It is a virtual court with the independent roles for the judges, court officer, advocates, and party in person who all are appearing in High Court need to have their own roles rather than just participants. And they need to allow and disallow in the meeting room with video or audio, whatever, with the permission of judges. We made a software with the help of High Court of Kerala, and we named it as vConsole Court. And that is being used in all the courtrooms of High Court of Kerala right now. And it is not Google Meet, it is not Zoom, it is not a video conferencing at all. It is a business workflow developed for a court. Ultimately, it will end up in a conference. That's all. So what you are seeing is every business domains, every areas, there is a possibility that video is going to be the communication point. At the end of, even if it is ERM, even if it is ERP, they need an integrated solution rather than just a video conference. I would say Microsoft is progressing a lot into that area, because Microsoft has an ecosystem of business applications, and they are plugging their teams into each and every one with some customization. Even you are going to see the Office 360 is coming with the Teams right now. And if you want to interact on Office 360, it will plug into the Word, Excel and all. If you want to communicate with an Excel guy at the other end, two of them are collaborating on an Excel sheet, then you can just click off a button, you can be in a meeting without sending the URL and all. That is the way things are going to change. Every business domain, every area of life have a touch point where we need video. Now we are using just video conferencing. Going forward, it will be the part of the tool that makes the digital transformation, what Kuriachan sir was telling. The digital transformation have a inevitable component that is going to be video meeting. And every software needs video component to be integrated. We are getting interesting use cases after this court. And some of them is, one of them is like a music teacher is doing his classes. Now, you know, this Byju's and all are started using music and all. But some of the companies who is dedicated to music teaching and all, they are integrating our solution right now. That means we have a lot of opportunities than challenges going forward. And that is one thing. Challenges are there because as such video conferencing, we may not be able to sell it because of Google Meet is giving free, Zoom is giving free, because that serves the purpose of most of the common people's requirements. But in enterprise, they need secure and safe video conferencing, and maybe GDPR, you heard about it. Europe is coming with the data protection rules, very stringent data protection rules. And one company in Germany who was using Zoom for their classes, actually they are coaching corporate managers. It's a huge big company in Germany who is supported with the support of retired corporate managers. They will coach the junior managers who is recruited by the companies. So it was being done on Zoom earlier, and GDPR is coming in place. They found out our product is suitable for GDPR, which can be installed in premises of Germany, in the jurisdiction of Germany, and do their coaching without any compliance issue. So they are approaching us, and they already installed one server, and they started using it integrated with their software. So that is I just giving you an example, and there is no better example.
With your busy schedules, how you are getting time to spend on research, reading, and prototyping? Some other question is there. Yeah.
Okay. Now we are 80 engineers.
Yes.
Some of them are 3-4 engineers are dedicated to the. I mean, less than 10 engineers are dedicated to look at the things happening around in the technology area. And our CTO is a very good guy. He's from Bihar, and he is always adamant to upgrade my team. Every day he will kill them, even without seeing the news that is happening in technology. So I am a bit moving to the business side right now after getting this award and all. Earlier I was also coding, and now I am getting a bit outdated, maybe 6 months outdated. 6 months is very big timeline in technology. So, but the team is upgrading, and team is the technology we used, and the scaling, the security areas, we use the world-class latest things in this vConsult for Government of India. They were wondering, you choose this kind of authentication, use this kind of technology, or everything, the latest things happening around, that is being used for vConsult. So, so it is quite. My team is helping me a lot of. Also, the team is most of them from Kerala, and we are handpicking them, and they are sticking on to us. There is no attrition.
Mhm.
That is one of the important factors why we are winning.
Yes, sir. Like, sir, actually, when you're preparing your proposal for that innovation challenge, so I came to know from the social media news and all, I understand that you have prepared some 500 pages for the proposal.
It was 300 plus pages. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, normally when we present something for this, like government agencies for a funding proposal, there are some page limitations for that. So how, like, is there any like how whether they will get enough time for for going through all these pages? And
it was earlier I made some documents for each and every while we were doing the research, we were doing a lot of documentations for our own self.
Yes, sir.
To teach the juniors coming in, to
Yes, sir.
give some inputs to technology guys who are talking to us from the other end.
Okay.
So there were a lot of stuff. I compiled it together,
Mhm.
and they were made a list of around 50 questions were there.
Mhm.
It made as a template for the proposal.
Okay. Okay.
That questions I answered in 4-6 pages. Each questions.
Okay, sir. One more question is there. Like, I wish to know that what is your primary resource for latest IT developments? Any suggestions on this to our students?
Okay.
From Dr. Lindsay. Yeah.
Okay. What challenges? Once again, can you repeat?
Yeah. Like, what's your primary resource for latest IT developments? What is your primary resource?
Primary resource means you are talking about. Can you, Dr. Are you there? Can you explain a bit so that I can answer it properly? Just open up mic and talk.
Dr. Lindsay?
Sir, hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, really inspiring information you have shared, and I'm really wondering how you could have this much consistency in your journey. So I think the younger generation should see that and should follow consistency. And my question was like mainly in IT, as you were saying, like even if we lose touch with 2-3 months, we will lose so much of information, right? So many things are changing. So that was the question I was asking.
Oh,
like,
okay.
what will be your primary source? Like, where do you go and get the latest information? Because there are so much resources. Do you have any primary or preference
I
regarding?
got it. There are some good forums. Reddit is a good resource. You can go and find out. And of course, Google newsletters. You will get
Okay.
a lot of technology newsletters if you subscribe to it. It is
Yeah.
a good resource of what is happening around and the announcements and all. Google have a newsletter for each domain. If you look at it,
Yeah.
if you subscribe for Android, everything on Android will come to your inbox. And if you subscribe to, we have the open source communities. That is one of the important thing, because it is a limited set of users from Russia. Some are there, from Europe some are there, but they are a good resources on, especially in video audio conferencing, video encoding and audio encoding. There are less resources available and the research is very less happening around, but some of the very slow progress is there, but there are some good resources, some good human beings who are sharing information with us. Some Israeli guys are there who are researching on it, so we are in touch with them directly. And of course we are taking some help from IIT Kanpur. Kanpur's one mentor was there during our innovation challenge. He is a specialist in WebRTC. I didn't mention the WebRTC, but I am just to tell you, WebRTC is the technology promoted by Google to support the video audio conferencing and video audio media related things on web browsers. So that is how the video conferencing come on to web browser right now. Earlier it was not possible at all, because browser is a sandbox kind of environment. You cannot access the hardware, camera, microphone and all from the browser without the help of a third-party plugin. Earlier it was not possible till 2014, and by 2014 Google announced the technology, because Google is struggling also, because Google want Google audio media. You remember, it was a Google Chat which supported voice chat on web browser with the help of a DLL that is installed. And Windows, Microsoft will not allow a DLL to be installed from browser. So it's a clash between two companies. It is not a clash between two companies. So whoever, we also tried it. We were also trying ActiveX components to be installed on browser to do the trick, the video audio access and all. And Google announced it after the Chrome came in. Google got control over the browser business, and they started putting things on their browser. The HTML5 and all came with audio video access right now. So audio video access and real-time communication is possible only through this particular WebRTC technology, which was started as a open source, and now it is a part of Chromium engine, and Chromium, the Chrome's parent engine, which is an open source also, Chromium. And WebRTC after 2017, every browser is forced to, I mean Microsoft, Apple, everyone, Mozilla, everyone were forced to do this, because Chrome is gaining momentum because of the WebRTC in it, because video audio conferencing and video audio access became easy from browser. Earlier it was not allowed because of the security reasons. Browser should work on it, because it is internet, we are accessing browsers, and from internet a server is accessing your hardware. That means a security problem. So that is why Microsoft didn't allow it in Internet Explorer's versions, earlier versions, and they proposed a solution for that with the with the information given to the user, you can install plugins, ActiveX plugins, and do that. That is how Flash came in. You remember the Flash, Adobe's
Adobe
technology, Flash. Flash was a plugin to access video and audio. And most of the video conferencing companies used the Flash technology on the client side earlier. After WebRTC came in, and WebRTC being now approved by all the browsers, every browser support WebRTC right now. And that is how the technology changed. And video conferencing became a part of it. It became easy as web browsing right now, because you need to enter a URL. Even Zoom is not supporting browsers right now, because they have their own client side optimizations done. It is not possible at all on WebRTC. We are not relying on client side to optimize the technology. We are relying on server to optimize the video and audio. So that is why we would be able to provide a pure web-based video conferencing. It is not possible on Zoom. You need to install Zoom app.
Yes.
So technology resources, you mean internet is a primary resource. Of course, the connections with the universities who are doing some research into it, that is one important thing. Some good fellows who is ready to, I would say the X264, the video encoding. You knew about MBEC encoding. That is through a codec called H264. That H264, one of the guy, his name, I don't know his real name, but I'm in touch with him. He didn't told his name yet, but he provided a open source video encoding in C++. That made most of the companies support this MBEC encoding, and there are good fellows in the open source community who are contributing to us. So I need to tell a lot of thanks to them also for this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Joy sir, when I posted the webinar details in LinkedIn, one question came in the comment box was like, why you are conducting this session in Zoom, since the speaker itself is a creator of a video conferencing solution? Why you are welcoming conducting this session?
Rajesh sir, I will tell you. I didn't change that mode because you already announced it and all. I am not a adamant on my technology and all. I would like to see what is happening on Zoom also. Yes. So even if but I will give you an account in vConsole, so that your team can fight out with the guys who understood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I will give you an account.
I also one small request for you is you kindly consider our invitation on this platform. On some 37 participants are there. So I would like to invite you as an expert member for our IAC. So we are
sure. Without I don't have that much time, but I will.
No, actually, yes. So I don't know whether is there any further questions from participants' side?
Thank you. There is no better
right?
In social world as how much time you spend on research, reading, and prototyping. That is, I told you, it is. 20 years is so much time. It's 1/3 of a age of a human being. So it's not that easy.
Yes, sir. So with that, can we conclude the session? Yes.
Yeah, if it is all. I think latest what is your primary objective?
Yes.
I answered most of the questions.
Yes,
what kind of challenges you are expecting? What did you?
Joy sir, thank you so much for this wonderful session. Like actually, the objective of the session was like life of an entrepreneur. Okay, so they're like explaining about the hurdles, the experiences about an entrepreneur. So I understand that slowly after half an hour, that session has went into a new dimension. Like technology transfer has already taken place. Like through the questions asked by several participants, you have like explained each and every technology aspect also by mentioning the protocols, SIP protocol, H.323. and all, because when you're mentioning those protocols, actually I was thinking about my classes on computer networks and all. Like we are having several protocols to study in some modules. So yeah, thank you so much, sir. Like that the journey. So like on behalf of entire IIIT family, as well as other participants who have joined here. So I would like to thank for coming over here and presenting your sharing your experiences, your life experiences and all for the past I think 1 hour 15 minutes. Yes. So like this is second time I am inviting you, and without any hesitation, you're accepting my invitation. So it's so blessed to have you, sir. And actually, this IIC, the Institute Innovation Cell, is now moving in the IIC 4.0.
Okay.
Okay, this is new edition. So you are the first speaker for our IIC 4.0. And actually, when I was thinking about a speaker for our activities, the first name came to my mind was Yon, because there is no other replacement for the first speaker, because you are the one who are motivating for so many young budding engineers. And the previous institution also, when I conducted a session for you with you, I got a lot of good feedback from the student community side. So likewise, it was also very nice session, sir. We are so blessed to have you here. So thank you so much. Expecting such kind of interactions or like sessions in future also. So thank you for your time. Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Yes.
Thank you.